Good morning. Yesterday, I posted a video called Four Ways That Your Mentors or Advisors Might Be Unknowingly Screwing You. And of course, I've got a lot of negative feedback, but mostly privately. A lot of the hate mail has been privately. And one of the questions that I ask people is, why are you giving me this feedback privately? Why aren't you giving this feedback on the post, and that way other people can benefit from your feedback? And didn't really get any real answers. I'm assuming, I mean, some of the feedback was, Leo, you have no idea what the construction industry is like. We can't find quality people. Most of the people in the trades are, drinking, they're involved in drugs and all this stuff. So you really don't understand what's going on in the construction industry. And of course, I got other feedback from other industries basically saying the same thing, especially from the restaurant industry. Like, Leo, you don't understand. We're shut down. We can't do anything. Yes, you're right. But yet, some kitchens called ghost kitchens are thriving because they anticipated this. Don't forget, we were told this by President Obama in 2014 and Bill Gates in 2015 this virus was going to happen. But this is not the conversation that we're having. The conversation was about, are your advisors getting the true picture? Because if 100% of the people that we've analyzed didn't understand what their problems were or agreed 3 days later after the forensic analysis that what they thought were the problems were not the problems, and if they're conveying the wrong problem to their advisors are advising them to act on the wrong problem. So again, it's like the guy spinning the plates on TV on the pool cues, right? He's spinning the plates, and he might go to his advisors and saying, "Well, why the hell do I have a revolving door in my company? Why do I go through so many employees?" Then he might think, "Well, it might be because of a morale problem." Right? So they start working on the morale problem, or they start, working on different things to reduce the revolving door because it's very expensive to train employees and only have them leave. And a lot of times they go to your competition. Now they're making your competition more productive because you train their employees. So it's a huge problem. So let's look at that. So a lot of times people start with a symptom. By the way, a revolving door is a symptom. It's not a problem, it's a symptom. So let's say you ask your advisors to work on that with you or to help you with that. So they try to find out why there's a revolving door. Then they find out, if they do a forensic analysis of the business, then they find out that you have a morale issue. Well, why do you have a morale issue? Then from the morale issue, you find out that you have a productivity issue. Because I mean, that should have been seen on your financials. If you're spending, 5 million or 3 million or $500,000 or whatever it is on labor, and you're not getting a good return on that. And by the way, what is the good return in your industry? So again, you should have those numbers so you can compare to. Are you doing better than average? Are you doing less than average in your industry? That's something we carry statistics going back to at least 40 years. So you start looking at productivity numbers and you start thinking, okay, why is my productivity down? I'm paying higher than industry average, right? Because most entrepreneurs buy loyalty. Because if you're paying higher than industry average, you are trying to buy loyalty. You're trying to get more productivity by buying loyalty, right? So you start looking, okay, so we have productivity issues. Then you start looking, okay, what's our internal training program look like? Do we have an internal training program? And most companies don't. So, which means if they do, it means in most cases it's the owner or the crew chief who's taking someone under their wings and personally trained them. So when that person leaves, all that training goes with that employee. So they're not capturing that training on an internal training program, which means they have to do it from scratch each and every time. So, and this is what I mean about the spinning plates, right? So then you're working on the training program. Then you're trying to wonder, well, why isn't our training program increasing productivity? We have an operations manual. We have, safety manuals. We have all these different things. Why aren't these employees reading these things? And why do I have to tell my employees 10 different times or 100 different times what to do before they actually listen, right? So then they try and look back further and say, well, why is there poor workmanship? Am I hiring the wrong people? Then they start making excuses. Well, I can't pay anymore because I don't have margins. Then you start looking at the low margins as a spinning plate. Then you start looking at, because productivity and workmanship is low, you have to start doing things twice, or your employees start making mistakes because they have morale issues. Then the project is late. Then you have poor reviews. Then poor reviews contribute to lower sales, and then later, low margin projects produce late projects because now you can't put your best people on it, right? Then that creates poor reviews. Then you start wondering, well, do I have the wrong clients? Why do my clients treat me like shit, right? Because you don't have a way to train your clients and manage your clients' expectations. Then you go back even further. Then you realize that your marketing is wrong, or maybe you're not doing marketing at all, and that's why you're getting the wrong clients. Or your expectations are to get your clients from referrals. Okay, so these are all spinning plates. These are all things that contribute to the fact that a lot of business owners, and we've analyzed a lot of 35-year-old business owners who've had 2 heart attacks already. So, and these are some of the issues, right? So when I talk about, when we analyze a company, 100% of the time, business owners think this is the problem, some of the problems I just mentioned, but then they agree 3 days later that what they thought was the problem clearly is not, and they're anxious to solve and start working on real problems, the real issues, the core issues of the company, right? So I'm producing this video basically to respond to some of the hate mail that I've been getting for the last couple of days because of the original video. If your advisors, and a lot of people believe they have advisors, and their advisors are usually their best friends or people in the same industry, and people suffering with the same problems, and they believe in getting like-minded people. What I have to say to that is, like-minded people produce like-minded results. So if they have the same problems you do, then how are you solving the problem if you're both thinking in the same way? Don't you have the opposite thinking? Don't you need the opposite thinking in order to get out of the hole that your company may be in? So those are some of the thoughts that I would like you to think about, or some of the questions that I would like you to think about, because if you've been doing this for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and you still have the same issues you did 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, then chances are you're not bringing in an infusion of fresh ideas into your company, and it's probably because you're talking to like-minded people who have the same problem. If they have the same problem, they're not working on finding a solution to the problem, right? So you kind of have to talk to people who believe the opposite of what you believe. Okay, so think about that. I want that to sink in a little bit. If you're talking to people in your industry who believe what you believe and have the same problems you do, and probably, build the same products that you do, um, and the reason why you're gravitating to them is because they are the devil you know, and that allows you to stay in your comfort zone. Okay, The reason why I don't have a lot of followers and my profiles have been deleted 3 times already, and nobody wants to talk to me is because I believe the opposite of what you believe. So by talking to me, I'm a threatening person because now I'm going to challenge you. And that's very scary to any business owner, because now if you start believing what I believe, then you're going to have to change. And change is very fucking scary. Okay? I know you no you, no you don't believe change is something you want to do. Change is very scary, and I challenged you in your beliefs, because if you believe that you embrace change, and I know what you're going on inside your head right now, and you believe that you embrace change, and that's why you talk to people on LinkedIn and so on. No, you talk to people on LinkedIn who believe what you believe to reinforce your beliefs. Okay, so if you really believe in change, then you will talk to people like me who believe the opposite. There's your challenge. Send me an email on LinkedIn or privately, or let's set up a Zoom coffee call and let's discuss some of these ideas in detail. Would love to hear your comments below. Thank you.